Hey nerds, and welcome back to coverage of the LATAM League Finals, the Copa Elite 6, well and truly underway. We've got our second and final semi-final getting underway very, very shortly indeed. I'm joined by Demo and Ollie, and it's good to have your company as well, wherever you are around the world. Thanks for tuning in as we get underway with Team 1 versus NIP. I'll start with you, Demo, to give us a sense of what is coming up in this match. Talk to us about Team 1. They're a team that has done very well since Mexico, of course, and they've had a ripper stage. What can we expect from here as they go up against NIP?
I don't know. It's been a bit of a weird story between Team 1 and NIP for quite some time. It started off with Team 1 beating NIP 7-0 in Week 2 in the regular season. And then we get to Copa Elite 6 this week, and Team 1 then lost to NIP. So I don't really know where we go from here. Team 1 has played, very consistent. They got straight into that top 4 position. They got to Sweden, so we didn't see them play yesterday, but we will see them, of course, play here today against NIP. Team 1, I think, shouldn't really have any pressure. I think, obviously, their eyes are always going to be on the major, like Ollie has kind of said. They're current major champions. They're probably going to want to try and defend that title. So we don't know how hard they're going to go into this game. Are they going to go all in? Are they going to just play their hearts out? Or will they maybe take a bit more of a relaxed step?
We're going to find out. Team 1 have been in great nick, and throughout the stage play as well, looked really, really good. Unlike the team that they're going to go, going to go up against here, NIP, which we'll come to in just a second. But Team 1, I don't know. I went into this weekend thinking, right, they're the team to beat here. Like, they're definitely going to be the one that we're going to have to keep an eye on. But after the performance we saw from NIP, well, I don't know. Now my mind is not made up. But there is a look at Team 1. That is one of the teams we'll be having a look at here as we head into this semi-final. But NIP, Ollie, big question mark over this team, because we have seen, is it fair to say, a lackluster performance from them in the group stage. All of a sudden, they came out yesterday and it looked like a completely different group of individuals.
Yeah, they really do. And, they're a team that are willing to turn it on when it really matters. And I think that's the biggest thing to take away from a team like NIP, is that they are happy to put in the work and put in the effort when the game has the weighting that they want it to, and they know the games where they need to be giving things away, and they know the games where they don't. And this isn't a game where they really do need to give all too much away. We saw these two teams face off. We saw NIP and Team 1 play each other earlier on this week inside a Copa Elite, only 4 days ago or so now. NIP were able to get the win there. It played out on bank 7-5. So that would suggest that NIP are pretty up for the fight, given that Team 1 has played the most bank we've seen so far inside of Brazil. And if they're going to be looking to get a good result there, then I would anticipate we maybe see a repeat of that map. But ultimately, NIP, what can you say about them? I don't even know at this moment in time whether these guys are on form, off form, having a lucky streak, having a bad streak. I genuinely think that these guys can just turn it on and off whenever they see fit.
It is something that I think we're now waking up to a little bit here. NIP looked so unimpressive, really. Not bad, just not what we'd expect from them in the group stages. They came out yesterday and absolutely crushed Liquid, and we were left asking questions as to, as you say, are they just turning it on when they need to? Are they sitting back and taking it easy peasy when the stakes aren't perhaps so high? Well, we're going to see very shortly as this next semi-final gets underway. Let's have a look at the maps. Once we can bring up the map video and get a sense of where we're headed for this one, of course, I'll remind you we're playing best of 3 today, best of 3, which means that, of course, we'll pick 3 different maps for these two teams to play on, rather than the usual one in league play. Demo, talk to us about what we're seeing here. Cafe and Chalet, the first ones to go down here. Team 1 taking out Cafe, NIP removing Chalet. Where are we going to be headed? Villa for Team 1. What do you think of this?
Well, that is the map that Team 1 7-0'd NIP on. Keep that in mind inside of Week 2. Seeing a Cafe ban's no surprise. I thought NIP were so good on Cafe against Liquid. So I think a worthy ban from Team 1. It's also a map that we don't really expect to see from Team 1. Coastline comes in as our map pick then for NIP. And then Bank will also be the decider. I'm surprised that we're seeing Bank be left in. I think that is been a real staple map for Team 1. We've seen them play, I think, was it 3 times in a row between Week 3 and also Week 4. So it has been definitely one that they're familiar with. So Yeah, a little bit of a head scratcher, but then again, Oregon is also another map that Team One are big fans of.
Yeah, I mean, the breadth of their map pool means that, you know, they're going to be comfortable more or less anywhere, you would have thought. But here, as we say, first, well, I mean, back to Coastline as well. Let's talk about that one. Ollie, what are your thoughts? We've seen a little bit more Coastline just, I mean, today than we've seen in recent weeks.
Yeah, it sort of had a lot of popularity at the start of the stage, and then it dropped off. But as we get around the stage a little bit further, we are seeing a bit more Coast come through. The maps that we've seen so far over the course of the weekend do kind of indicate to me that teams aren't maybe giving it their all. Just because the slightly off-meta map picks. You know, we've not seen any Chalet. Chalet's a great map at the minute, and it's being played quite a bit. Clubhouse, Oregon, they're always going to be up there in terms of pick rate. So to see the less popular maps really coming out here, it maybe does speak to the fact that these teams are just wanting to go somewhere a little bit off the beaten track. Now, there's an argument to say that Villa isn't really off the beaten track for Team 1 because they're exceptional on this map. They've almost taken over NIP's mantle of being unbeaten on Villa for nearly 12 months. NIP are extremely good on Villa, and I'm not really too surprised to see them want to go there, especially given NIP and the fact that even before all of the sort of are they saving strats conspiracy came out, had kind of fallen off on Villa a little bit too much. I think they just overplayed it a bit. And Coastline, as you mentioned there, as the second map, but Bank to be the decider. It is where Team 1 got beaten by NIP only a couple of days ago, so we could again see another 3 map here.
Yeah, let's find out. We're going to get stuck in right now here. Head down to Villa for our first map of the second semi-final. Team 1 versus Ninjas in Pyjamas. Let's head down to the action. And of course, the casters, Demo and Ollie.
Thank you, Riley. Feels like we only just left the good old Villa.
I know what that is. I know why. Because we just did.
It's because we just did. It's because we just saw the last game play on Villa. But here we are, fresh game, fresh best of 3, and a fresh 2 teams. Team 1 versus NIP. Kicking things off with a book ban. It's not as targeted as it used to be. Alamal famed for his book in early stage 1 and stage 2, but since halfway through stage 2, stage 3, it hasn't really been as important or as big a factor as previous. Hibana removed as the hard breach. Nothing too surprising here. A little bit targety on either side. Jaeger taken away. Is that the Muzi ban Demo? Or is it the Kamikaze ban?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, Jaeger is
Both
definitely
of
an
them have done
operator
well.
that... I mean, we see, I think, good flexibility from NIP. You know, it's not just Muzi, it's not just Kamikaze. I think we've seen Pino have his fair share of Jaeger moments also, so it's just an all-round ban. And I think also, considering it is Villa, you looked at how utility-focused it was, a lot of nades, a lot of flashbangs being brought by the attackers, then it's going to be always just a staple ban, a solid ban. We see Wamai be banned out. Is there that much of a difference between Wamai and Jaeger? Not really. They both do the same job.
Valkyrie going to round things out.
Mirror's
That's
open.
just an everybody ban, really. Mainly more of a Psycho and a Pino ban starting things off for NIP on the defense, but quite easily a Levy ban as well, or a KDS ban, as everybody seems to love playing a bit of Alk, and why not? Alamau, bit of a name change there. Alamau Razar? Raza? Unsure.
He's always having a name change, isn't he? Just every month it's a new.
Is that not what he's
it's
changed?
a new one.
I'm sure he's changed his profile picture
Let
to
me grab
somebody
it.
that was called Raza as well. Might be wrong on that.
There he is. No, he's just chilling in his profile pic.
I'm not. My finger isn't on the pulse of the meme culture as much as I'd like it to be.
Then again, you are 45, so I wouldn't expect you to really be in there with the, with the young hip people these days. So
The burn.
Flash, NIP, big fan of the shields, as we know, Ollie, and it's certainly an operator that we see from NIP and Villa. I think NIP have a good history of Villa. It has been a map that, I think they've been historically known for just not losing on. But I wouldn't say that the matches that they play in Villa are ever comfortable. Every time I've seen NIP play Villa, it has always been crazy. There's always been something that you just think, how or why or oh my word. It's just something about NIP and Villa. Yes, they win the map. They never make it easy.
Nah, they quite often don't. It's not something that's been as much of a trend recently. I think ever since they got beaten by W7M in Stage 2, it's not really been a map that they've sort of been known as being that good on anymore. But there's always time to prove us wrong and to become that team once again. The Clash being used for the main stairs hold is quite interesting. Typically, you just get a Wamai played there with a shield. And you just throw the Wamai discs out and just hope to stay alive. But actually playing Julio on the Clash there as well as Psycho. Really showing just how much they want to try and keep control of that area. Oh, KDS gets some unfortunate time in there. Psycho with the swing is able to take down Alamar, but caught with the nade in hand. KDS isn't able to do anything. Another nade flies up, destroys the shield, and chips Julio down somewhat. Julio now can make his way down the stairs and just gather a little bit more information. There's vertical angles being pressured from either side here as well, as Psycho goes for a bit of a swing onto Lagonis. Lagonis, bit of a panic drop there, as he's caught just pre-firing, trying to keep the players at bay. Julio now able to gather and dish out quite a bit of information. First one being an Iana clone. No real cause for concern or panic. But Toxic Babe canisters now being used to cut off these players. It's a bottleneck that NIP are creating, and one that Team One are just walking willingly into.
Yeah, and I think the Clash just put so much more pressure on them. Yes, they might have destroyed the deployable shield on the stairs, but they get rid of the Clash shield at the end of the day, Ollie. That is still something that they have to go through. And NIP are happy enough just to start rotating back to the bomb site, play their utility, and oh, that's a great swing though from Neskin. Eliminates Pino, but Kamikaze has 2 smoke canisters in the back pocket, which is the main issue that Team 1 will have to go up against. Lagonis, look at his HP. Ollie, even the Clash could finish him off at this stage. They still have the control study with a player on top main stairs. Bottleneck is just the name of the game right now for Villa, and I fear Team 1, they just got caught up with the time and the utility. What a great swing from Muzi. You still see Levy have the trade-off though, but he's down and there's no way he's getting picked up. Psycho finds KDS. Neskin will try and move in towards 9. He just leaves his teammate for dead. Knows he has to try and push on in. Kamikaze waits with a shotgun. And Lagonis, who is down to a sliver of HP, tried to make a long rotate, but he's out of time. Team 1, they fall at the first hurdle. NIP holding that extremely stiff.
Yep, NIP not giving anything up there. A bit of a lack of hard breach as well from Team 1. Feels like we could probably just rewind and press play on some of the commentary that we were making for the previous game, especially when Furia were attacking demo. You know, that lack of hard breach from Team 1, it's evident here as it was in the first game. And it's something that's slowed them down, something rotten. You know, if they did have the potential to get in and start making a couple of those hard walls into, you know, rotations or lines of sight or just anything, it's going to give you a bit of a better time of things. But the stubbornness to not bring a hard breacher is a real one. And again, we see it costing the attacking side. Wonder if that is something that does continue here, if that's a trend that we see Team 1 consistently go for. They've not chosen a hard breach inside of round 2, of course, attacking into a different site, but still, bottleneck central is where we find ourselves.
Here we go with our next defense for NIP. Flash is gone, instead Echo will come into the fray of things. Ollie, usually not an operator that we see for a map like Villa, mostly because just because of how volatile the vertical game can be played by the attackers, it doesn't really leave any safe positions that an Echo player can sit in freely. So that's really the only worries you would have if you're bringing the Echo is, okay, can he sit in a position that we know he won't get killed in? Echo can still be very, very vital for defending that main breach. It gives, obviously, great information, but being able to stop the plant, and especially with this bomb site, Ollie, we know it's very slow-paced. The attackers have a lot of things that you have to do if they're establishing bedroom control, if they're trying to establish their studying and in towards Aviator and games. It takes up a lot of time. You're trying to go in for that confuse in the final seconds, and Echo can just ruin everything for you.
Absolutely, and especially if Team 1 continue this trend of late round attacks that we've seen on Villa with teams that don't bring hard breach, it's going to become even more pressurizing for them. Rotero drone to destroy the shield at the top of Astronomy Stairs. Julio, not too concerned, can immediately take up that position, just as a bit of a double check. Alamau, how do you get two there? Just got swung by both Pino and Muzi. Picks up another onto Kamikaze. This guy's playing terrorist hunt. Everyone's throwing bodies at him, and he's hitting every single shot. Psycho eventually to shut him down. Alamau, not too worried at that one, as he's already taken down 3.
Damage has been done. He's got his worth there. More than his worth, I would say. Triple his worth. Julio now decides to move on in, and at this stage I think NIP know that they have to play a little bit more aggro, simply because, I mean, they've lost 3 players and they've done exactly that. Psycho has been able to find a second, but look at the HP though from NIP. Julio and Psycho not in a great position to start taking any more gunfights. Headshots need to be the name of the game for NIP. A minute 30, so much time for Team 1, except they don't have a hard breach ollie. That is the only issue. They're going to get choked up. As we know, that is, like I said, Ballneck Central has been the main goal for defenders. It's just trying to lay out entire rounds and then use your utility, use the smokes, use the echo drones that NIP have.
And it's a shame because Team 1 really should be able to press on to this advantage, but because they're now going to be going through single doorways, it's essentially just 1 versus 1s anyway, unless you're really going to stack onto that doorway. So it's going to require even more coordination to get the job done here. Neskin, he swings on through, finds one onto Psycho. Julio eventually taken down again by Neskin. They do there manage to make it work. Could have been a lot cleaner, and there was still a chance there for NIP to get something going, but off the back of the F2 and off the back of Alamau in the opening few seconds, Team 1 chalk 1 up.
Yeah, no surprise. I think that was just inevitable after what Alamau had performed. He done a lot of heavy lifting for Team 1. All he had to do was just tap it into the back of the net, I suppose, Ollie. So, NIP struggling with the trophy statuary. Surprisingly, we've seen that be very defender-sided for FaZe Clan earlier tonight. And keep in mind, Team 1, again, we're playing a lineup with no hard breach.
Finally.
Very surprising.
Finally, we see it switched.
But this is probably the bomb site that you don't need it for. It is the kitchen.
Strange. I'll give you that one. Certainly a strange one. Could be seeing a bit more of a laundry plank come through. Maybe that could be the focus here. But you're right, it is a bit weird to see it come through on the site where you maybe need it the least.
I'm interested to see what the game plan is for NIP in their kitchen. Are they going to go heavy with the roam game? Obviously, they have the Mozzie and the Mute, so they could definitely pull off a top floor hold if they wanted to. It seems to be the case. You see Mozzie going around, placing down some pests all over the map. Not trying to give Team 1 any kind of good standpoint to start their droning. Kind of throw them off guard. So NIP very heavy in the roam game. 3 roamers at the moment. Make that 4. I see Psycho lurking upstairs. Only just the 1 player being placed on the site, and that is Kamikaze. He has to be careful because somebody walking up study, maybe a full rush up study, could be enough to end NIP in the roam game they're going for. Team 1 are definitely a side, Ollie, that if they see an opening, they'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. They're an opportunistic team, and it's one of the things that makes them quite dangerous and quite unpredictable, really. Alamau, the player, to really keep a keen eye on, see how that entry goes for him. He'll be drawing himself in with the quick shot drone now. It looks as though Team 1 are going to want to go for a top floor clear here. Julio in position with an impact from below. Couldn't open up the line of sight or even have an opportunity at putting a couple of pot shots in. Much slower, given the context of the rounds that we've seen so far, but it's going to kick off with a kill from Muzi. Takes down Levy. With it, there's a fear.
Team 1, losing that first engagement, doesn't set them up really anything too important. There's a second goes in favor, and a third for NIP. Team 1 seem to be blasted into next week in this round. KDS and Lagonas have to try and pick up the pieces and rebuild around for Team 1. We'll jump in towards Memorial. KDS eliminates Julio, and Lagonas finds another now 2 versus 3. They've started to pull back some kills, but still a lot of work to be done. A minute 15 to go. NIP still have roamers. Muzi will be lurking in. Piano and has the perfect timing, and KDS held them all the way up the staircase, but whenever he looks away, the wrong moment, he will pounce, and NIP finish off the round in great fashion. Very fast. Didn't even get to the minute mark. NIP just won their individual gunfights, and Team One really couldn't do anything against it.
It was a strong mid-round, wasn't it? Because it was a very slow burner to kick things off. And then as soon as Muzi kicked off with the kill, it was a bit of a domino effect there for NIP. We move on to Aviator and Games. Potential for a 6-pick. But initially no hard breach being selected. Instead, it's going to be Alamau switching off the Twitch onto the Lion. So again, Demo, we're not seeing this hard breach that we want, and that has so clearly been a big differentiating factor in rounds won for attackers and rounds lost in these sites.
This is a bit of a make or break round, I feel, for Team One. This is a site that they just really didn't have any insight into. I think the flash came in massively. I think the utility from NIP was played great. Team One were lacking with the refrags, and if NIP win this round again in the same fashion, that's a 3-1 standing for NIP, and that sets them up really nice for the next couple of rounds, and NIP could really start piling on those rounds and build up a massive lead against Team One. I just can't believe, I'm still just amazed the turnaround that NIP have had in such a short space of time. If you look at that side that went into, let's say, the MIBR match, and they got 7 freed, and we just sat there and thought, okay, NIP, you know, that's them summed up for the season. Only being able to win, what was it, 1 matchup of all of their games, and yeah, it was just a very lackluster, and actually I think they won 2 games, one of them was in overtime, but NIP, yeah, just weren't really there at all this season. To see them turn around and be able to get that win against Liquid yesterday was a real testament just to never count this side out. And right now, that they've looked in good form today so far.
Let's see if that form continues as we enter round number 4. Early Lion scan sent out. 1 caught from Team 1 initially. Instead, it's going to be Neskin to fall as Psycho takes opportunity there from those main stairs. There's a kill that comes in from main stairs. You know that it's got Psycho's name on it. He commands that area. He's going to be pre-firing over onto Lagonis as well. Couple trading elsewhere as another Lion scan comes in and Alamau takes advantage. Picks up 2, KDS another. Lagonis cleans up onto Julio. And well, Psycho, for all that he is on those main stairs and commanding them, he is now the last player surviving for NIP. 1 versus 3. Now he is going to be going up against a heavily chipped down Team 1 as he already shuts Lagonis down. KDS has the diffuser this time though, so still a danger of a plant incoming. No Lion scan left. Pre-fires over onto KDS and takes him out. It's 3 kills on the round. He pre-fires for Alamau, but Alamau hits the headshot there. Unfortunate circumstance for Psycho. You've got to feel for him there. It was a great attempt, but ultimately comes to nothing.
Nothing at all. Team 1, a great round to get them back into this game 2-2. Now we certainly do have a match on our hands. Mostly contested as it goes. Don't know if it's going to be defender-sided. Don't know if it's going to be attacker-sided. Or it could be completely even, 50-50, right down the middle. Aviator and Games once again for NIP. We're seeing a trade-off though. No clash. Instead, Thunderbird makes an appearance. Also a Frost. Bit of an exotic lineup from NIP. What do they have in store? Thunderbird hasn't really hit the meta as hard as I think people would have thought to be Ollie. Useful gadget, definitely, if you're an aggressive side and you're not afraid to take those opening engagements, go for spawn peaks, and you're not afraid of losing health. That's where the Thunderbird can play massive. With those Kakona stations, you can just simply run back to site and heal yourself up all the way to full. We kind of speculated that she could be great for holding certain positions that are difficult to deal with. I think Villa main stairs was an area that a lot of teams thought that she would be great in. But the realism of Thunderbird is if there's gonna be a nade tossed at you, you're still probably gonna die to the nade, even if you do have a healing station beside you.
Yeah, it's unlikely to have a really significant impact. We do see players sort of running back to get themselves juiced up, but I don't know how much real importance it has. NIP are one of the teams that have sort of pioneered the Thunderbird a little bit more. Maybe we see it come to a big clutch in this round, but again, it's something that the attackers can even take advantage of. You know, if they walk past one of the corner stations, they're getting the juice as well. The corner station doesn't discriminate, Demo. Friend or foe, it is going to give you a little bit of a stim.
Yeah. That's very true indeed. And I think one thing you have to remember with the kind of healing station is it can also sometimes give your position away. Just keep in mind, if you're in the radius of that station, you hear a pop, and you know the guy's going to be in that vicinity, which can, again, be used for either team to gain some information, but I don't know, it just seems to be a forced operator that you almost need to try and build around. And I know, speaking to some professional players, they felt that it just seemed forced. It feels as if you'd rather bring other operators to the table. You know, look at this lineup. Maybe Goyo would be a good selection. It gives you, even more shields, more denial potentially. You know, you have a wide variety of operators. Maybe a oNe. There's a standout operator for Villa. So, yeah, just a bit forced. But anyway, Team 1 have done extremely well with eliminating that first shield using the... oh, actually, they didn't get rid of the shield. I thought that was a shoe-in. Or did they get the shield and maybe rotate a new one over? I don't know.
I'm not going to be underneath, just trying to put a couple of shots in there. Vertical angle, something that NIP really like to work with. The nade comes through. The shield will remain, though, for the time being. Psycho takes down KDS. Second kill for Psycho on the round. He's starting to chain him together. A player that has suffered so much in the regular stage, really popping off in Copa. 2 openings here. Openings being the biggest stat line that he was sort of falling in. He's kicking things off pretty strong here in this game. 9-2 currently. We're only in round number 5. Pino, he's going to take down onto Neskin, Lagonis and Levy. They've got it all to do, and they've only got 45 seconds to do it in. Lagonis eventually shuts Psycho down. It's a small start, but it's a step in the right direction. 40 seconds left. Still players to deal with. A lot of information to gather. Julio starts to get chunked down, but will find the kills vertically, and the Frostmat does the rest. Didn't hear the Pogmat go off there, Demo, but
nope.
It is going to be responsible for that last kill.
Is indeed. Player that I would love to highlight, Ollie, is Psycho. Had a very, very rough stage. I believe that the figure that came out is in opening kills to opening deaths, Ollie. He was 4-20.
Oh, it was the worst for opening deaths in the entire league.
It was horrendous. Like that's stats that we do not expect from the player of his caliber. But he's turned it around. He's turned it around massively, and he showed up whenever it counts. That's the main thing. You know, like we said, Ollie, the regular season can come and go. You know, you can have some of the worst seeds of your life, but we know that NIP, because of how well they played in the first stage and how well they played in the second stage, because of the way the standings were, NIP were still going to be guaranteed the Copa Elite 6 spot. That's all that mattered for NIP. They knew that all they had to do was show up to this competition and just completely erase everything that had went against them before. And they've done that. They got to Sweden. They got to the major. So, like we said before, NIP, everything else, they don't have to worry about it. That's in the past now, and they can look forward. No point them living in the past. There's no point Psycho sitting there thinking, okay, I had 4-20 opening kills and opening deaths. Does that play a part in my mental game? It shouldn't, because look at him now, Ollie. 9 kills, 3 deaths.
Oh, the guy doesn't care. And I think that's clear. You know, it really doesn't matter how these guys have performed through the regular stage. These guys are built of sterner stuff than to worry about things that have happened in the past. They know that they can go out there and gun. And Psycho's a real testament to that mindset. Let's see if it's enough to carry NIP through here. It's going to be the final round for their defense. Chance at them to come out at a 4-2, which would be the norm. It'd certainly follow the trend we've seen on Villa so far today. And be fairly representative of Team 1's distaste to bring a hard breacher for anything other than Kitchen.
Also with Psycho, currently in the Copa Elite 6, Ollie, he's now 11 opening kills to 9 opening deaths. So, still not like amazing numbers, but a lot better than what he once was, which I think kind of shows the turnaround of NIP. Is just that stat alone. You can see the difference in their players. They're playing a lot more in sync with each other. I think their refrags have been excellent. yesterday, especially against Liquid, they were just on top of the ball the entire time. And Team 1, what can they do against this roam game from NIP, which has caused them issues? You see them taking a bit of time, a minute 20 already gone, and no kills on the side of Team 1. NIP. The roamers scattered around, especially this. Oh, that Mozzie Muzi almost catches the C4. As KDS was trying to prep a nade to be tossed in, and that nade will go out. But as we see, Muzi has completely moved on, and Levy gets C4'd from below. That will cause a bit of delay for Team 1. They're going to have to now move in and try and secure this revive. Does a good chunk of damage to Levy. I think there's another C4 being tossed out, and that's all the C4s gone from the Mute and the Mozzie who were roaming below. They still do have Psycho and his C4, but he seems to be situated on site more than anything, Ollie, so it would be surprising to naturally gain a kill from living room. Maybe he can snag a kill onto the sledge. Never mind, Kamikaze has done that for him. We're expecting Psycho to start fishing for that sledge, but he doesn't need to anymore. That's great pressure being applied constantly to that sledge, not allowing him to use that vertical opening. Alamau has pushed up the pantry, eliminated Psycho, but this is going to be a difficult challenge for him. KS finds another, but has been downed in the process. A 3v3. They do have pantry control, and Alamau has to go up against Julio and wins that engagement. Lagonis finds one. Also, Team 1 have stormed in, and now Muzi left in a 1 versus 3. The HP in 2 of the members of Team 1 is not favorable. A pre-fire tried to come in. Diffuser will go down. Muzi only has the oNe, and that alone. Can he make the clutch happen?
Finds the headshot there onto Levy. The plant will go down. Pistols being drawn by Alamau, but Lagonis, he picks up those pieces, gets the plant, knows exactly where Moose is going to be coming from. Bit of a lucky wallbang there, but he had the info. Hits the pre-fire. Round secured. We do see a 3-3 split here on Villa. Team 1 managing to drag that one back, despite the less than favourable start. Alamau had a big part to play there in that round, bursting through. 3 attacking rounds, Demo. That could be big. Could be very big indeed here for Team 1.
My oh my. This is too close to the call, because now NIP take on their attacking side, and NIP have looked a little bit treacherous as of late on their attacks, Ollie. But I would say against Liquids, they look just unplayable. I don't think Liquid could really play against how NIP were attacking. NIP were having landslides victories on their attacks. I think they only had to attack a few times because they mostly started in defense, didn't they? And I think they took 5 attacks yesterday, considering it was a 7-3 and a 7-2 game. They did a lot of the heavy lifting on defense anyway. They think they were 5-1 up in defense on Clubhouse and a 4-2 split for them on Cafe. So defense was the big thing for NIP, but their attacks were also very strong, only losing 2 attacking rounds yesterday, Ollie.
Well, let's see how their attacks go today. Of course, the second NIP map yesterday was a blink and you miss it affair, so didn't really get to see all that much. Immediately looking to try and deploy some of this ace utility, but it's going to get shot off straight away. Kamikaze maybe a little bit too eager there. Actually spent all but one. Don't even think the one on the vault actually went off either. I think that may have been either shot or is potentially being caught out in the mute jammer. So an eagerness to try and get things open in the early part of the round, quickly being dealt with. And IP maybe just benefit from slowing down a little bit and just buying themselves a bit more time.
Yeah, certainly are. I mean, IP, the lineup screams aggression. You know, it just does, Ollie. They've got 4 sets of nades. They've got some serious guns on their side. Got that big LMG, Ollie, which is just great for spraying and praying if you have a bit of info to go off, and they certainly do have that. You know, you still have Kamikaze, you can sit in the drones all day long. You have Psycho, who can obviously use the Gemini clone, so there shouldn't be any issues with NIP in terms of their attacking force. Just can they land the shots? Can they land the kills? Looks as if Alamau will start landing his kills, as there goes Psycho. A big battle between the 2 standout players so far for either side, and it will go in favor of Alamau.
Psycho to fall then, opening death on the attack. Not ideal, but not the end of the world either. Muzi playing on the Nook. We've not really seen all too much value out of that, especially given that he's on the roof at the moment. Not really where you would expect a Nook to be. It's almost like the meme of the Ash player that sits on the roof until the final few seconds of every single round and then entries on in inevitably to their death. Kamikaze, the next player to fall, 1 by 1. We're seeing an IP getting chipped away at here, as they haven't really had a clear, concise strategy for approaching this map. Pino's got himself into trophy. Neskin just playing in the doorway here to Master. Shuts one, can't find the second. Pino immediately there with the refrag. But look at the damage that it's caused. 4 versus 2 in favour of Team 1. Pino getting chunked down there by the Toxic Babe canister. Needs to be cautious on the Finker, as if he does juice himself up and then take damage from the Toxic Babe, it will deal even more. Live ping information for him to work from. Sees Levy ended very easily. KDS takes Pino, but immediately traded 1 for 1. Julio, 1 versus 2. The shotgun at close range from Lagonis. Swings the corner, hits the shot. Chalks another up here for Team 1.
Does indeed. Good round from Team 1. Starts things off right for them on the defense. And NIP, for the first time in the series, will actually fall behind Team 1 on the defense, Ollie. We know what they're capable of. And one thing that we have to mention, Ollie, is Alamau. The most known figure right now, I would say, in Brazil. He's really set a precedence for himself this year, Ollie. And for good reason. A serious gunner. Somebody that you have to, always go into a gunfight thinking, it is Alamau. Look at that. Look at him. Doesn't care. He doesn't care who you are, what you've won. He'll just BM you straight to your face.
He hits a bit of BM out on Twitter as well. It's quite funny.
Him. Just...
And, he's enabled by the rest of his squad.
It's
one
difficult not to like him as well, which I think is a really big key factor for him. It is difficult not to like him. And obviously that then grows your fan base. And Ollie, fan base, it can be massive for teams. If you always have somebody to play for, you always have a good backing, it makes a big difference.
I mean, I think given what he tweeted about Liquid last night, I think there's probably a few Liquid fans out there that don't like him.
Very true. Well, a lot more neutrals, I would say.
Yeah,
definitely fancy him.
And I think that's the sort of controversialness of it all, isn't it? It's all in good faith, but certainly a confident individual. I think it's fair to say can probably be described as nothing but. And the confidence rings through. You see it come out in the gameplay, you see it come out on the server, and that's really where it matters.
And today he is a major champion.
True.
He is for any major champion. I think he has, all right to do that. So we'll see how he plays on now to move into this next round and be on to that kitchen dining site, which has seen a lot of play. No living rooms today, Ollie. We've seen a lot of villas so far, but no living room sites. Probably for good reason. Still a very difficult site to master. Just the way that the attackers can take a very minimalistic setup and still successfully pull off a plant is probably the key reason why it's not favored. The ace will start to open up breaches here and there. See how NIP assess the situation. They don't really have any, sledge to go in there and start using a vertical game. They do have an ace of breaching charges, and I also think Muzi has some breaching charges on him as well, so they can do vertical with those two operators, but it's a difficult challenge for them, I'm sure, to actually get into the top floor and get into that bedroom.
This is where we could see NIP's trademark slow style really punished, especially on a map like Villa. It isn't entirely obvious the progress that they've made just yet. We do have Muzi. He's looking to make his way in through Statuary. Doesn't really have a efficient way to burn through the Aruni gate though, so he's forced into Trophy. Lagonis gathering a lot of information here that he can feed on through. Muzi now inside of Trophy will be able to start opening up this floor somewhat. Kamikaze dropped. Obviously on the ace, has the chance to open up maybe into the site, pending where the electric law has been placed. KDS just watching the hop-in at the moment. Team 1 really don't need to concern themselves too much here. Misplaced C4 there from Alamau is a little bit unfortunate, but nades to open up these angles isn't ideal either. One will sail on down. Doesn't deal any significant damage to anyone on the side of Team 1. Potentially meant for utility. Yeah, still watching this hop in as he sees the Selma charges getting thrown all the way through. C4 beautifully placed there by Levy. Takes Pino out of action. Now we're starting to see players from NIP have to drop. They need to try and get into the site somehow. Under the cover of the Finker Stim might be the way to do it. Will, however, fade. Psycho pushes his way through. Finds Levy. His teammates now joining him. Actually down by his teammate, maybe. Lagonis there taking out Kamikaze. This is all going wrong here for NIP. Neskin, he's able to put some shots in, but taken out by Muzi from behind. 1 versus 2 now as Muzi starts chaining kills together. Picks up the diffuser and starts to attempt to plant. Immediately comes off. Knows that Alamau's dropping and that he is only 1 HP.
He just dropped the action. He just, again, the BM rolls on in for Alamau. My word. But Team 1, all credit. Alamau didn't really have that much pressure, but was still, he just stayed alive. That's all he had to do in those final closing seconds. A nice attempt by Muzi. Really hit them in a position that they weren't ready for, pushing in through that China door. But Team 1, again, stemmed NIP extremely well. Had good refrags, had good pressure going down onto kind of default plant position. And yeah, Team 1, 5-3, 2 rounds away from taking the first map. NIP just lagging behind a little bit now.
Yeah, NIP needs to start picking up the pace, and they need to start doing it fairly quickly. You really get the feeling that the momentum's with Team 1 here, and as soon as they get onto 6 rounds, those couple of attacking rounds that they were able to win, the 3 attacking rounds that they were able to get, start looking very significant indeed. A lot on the line here inside of round number 9. A win would see Team 1 on a match point, and NIP continuing to fight off the back foot. Some of these rounds have been fairly close as well. You look at how close that last round was. Comes down to a 1 versus 1. There wasn't enough time left for it to really be ever successful for Muzi to actually pull that off. But realistically, could NIP have got themselves into that position a little bit sooner? I think they probably could have done. I think they could have done a bit more in the earlier mid-round to speed things up somewhat. But it has been a consistent problem. Lagonis, he's going to go for an early C4. You can see that no one spawned there. Maybe just waiting for the call here. Quite rightly pockets it. A bit of a waste of some utility. That regularly you do see players try for that C4, but in this instance, not successful.
Roman Alamau from the Mozzie will be the main issue that NIP have to try and deal with, and it looks as if they're going to send Muzi in to try and hunt them down, but Alamau doesn't really want to go for it. Asking up to. Down looks as if he's maybe going to try and support him, but go put back up to the bomb site. Bloody hold. Implemented by Team 1. Those Aruni gates are going to be great at not only just denying a bit of utility, Ollie, but just simply stop somebody walking in as freely as what they probably could do. Maybe looking back at it, something that maybe FaZe, maybe missed out on because they did ban the Aruni in that matchup. And we seen Furia just kind of walk into door frames and take these swings, and you can see the Aruni gate just kind of stems that flow a little bit more.
Yeah, the Aruni is certainly a great zoning tool. And I think that both FaZe and Furia saw the sort of heat of that Aruni ban, right? You know, it was banned out by FaZe, but it was something that did concern them as well. And here it's really not making things any easier for Team 1 in their approach. Typical, slow, still players way out there trying to gather a bit of info on that roof and getting the drones out. They're being met with quite a few problems. Kamikaze is going to be on the ace. They have got the potential to use that hard breach to get something open, but they will have bandits to deal with this time. Alamau, he's able to find a kill over onto Psycho. Psycho trying to make an entry in there downstairs. Levy could come to blows here now as well. Actually got a Mozzie Pest drone just on the inside of that doorway, but doesn't need it to take down Muzi. He's going to easily find that kill and immediately turn his attention to Pino on the pig window. Pino could be under a little bit of pressure here. Impact's no C4, but Levy knows there's going to be somebody in there. Great nade comes through from Pino. Unfortunate C4. What is going on here? Demo, no!
Alamau just kills anything, it seems to be. Doesn't care if you're his teammate. Doesn't care if he's the enemy. He just keeps on killing. We'll see if he can make up for it, because he is still in a good position only to try and hit them from that red stairs, and maybe even just fall back and try and push up to Astro and support his team. NIP are going to run into a bit of an issue, and that is the bottleneck. They're going to get choked up. They look as if they just pushed to the side. There's a C4, and that will connect on to Kamikaze, trying to get that defused down. Pino has eliminated KDS. Diffuser has to get picked up. Julia will try and walk in, but there we go. They do not have the cover. Alamau rotates up Astro. A good rotation. Getting back into the bomb site and will lie in wait. Breach not working out for them. Couldn't walk through that doorway. The Banshee was lying in wait. Team 1 push at the match point.
Team 1 posed to take map number 1 here. Looking like an increasing possibility, especially given the way that NIP are conducting themselves on the attack. They've almost regressed into that slower state that we've often criticised, which is kind of strange because they had a great defensive phase, excuse me. Played really well in the defense, were able to come away with an equal share of the rounds. But here we stand. Match point, Team 1. Chance to put themselves one map up in the series. Going to be heading into Aviator and Games Room. Great C4 from Neskin there to wrap up the round. Was almost as good as Alamau's C4. I'm not quite sure what Alamau was thinking there. I don't know if he mistakenly thought that Pino had actually already hopped in through Pig Window.
Yeah, I think miscommunication more than likely.
Just a bad comm on it.
Panic comm.
Yeah.
Who knows? Again, that's where it's the only thing that you kind of miss out on in esports is the team comms, because we know how much, like, how big that plays a part into things. It's the only thing, but I'd imagine that to be the case. It had to be in a missed call, panic call, whatever it was, and it happens. But still, made up for it nonetheless, so in hindsight, it didn't really matter. 6-3. Team 1, storming away with the defense, Salty, and haven't really done anything too fancy. Have mostly been very docile. Have just kind of sat in the bomb site. NIP have really struggled to get their heads wrapped around what kind of take they want to go for. It seems as if NIP, they're back to, it's a very slow attacking side, and they can't really get anything going. We always knew going to Villa was going to be a risk for Team 1. Or for NIP, should I say, sorry. Their attacks haven't been the greatest. If we look at how they actually performed in the matchup against NIP, they lost 6 attacking rounds on them.
Yeah, it's significant, isn't it?
It's you know, it's a massive statement to think, okay, we're going to go back here again. And it probably wasn't the greatest choice from NIP. Looking at it now, I think the attacks are same old for NIP, just back to the way they were. I don't know where you really go for NIP now at this stage. They have to have 3 perfect rounds or else they will lose this matchup.
It's looking more and more unlikely with the way that the game is shaping up. NIP need to show us something. They need to show it quickly. Failing that, we will be moving on to the second map. Pino maybe looking to try and make a bit of an entry off the back of the nade, but instead it will just be caught up by the magnet. Sure if it burnt the intended piece of utility. Potentially a Banshee there, but unlikely to be so. Muzi now going to try and nade out and remove the electrification that's slowing down any progress on that vault wall. It could be a main point of focus here for NIP. Typically it is somewhere that they've opted to try and get open, and we can see the ace Selma charge there will be successful. Going to do something to cut the site in half. Alamau attempting there a bit of an impact.
What's he thinking?
A desperate attempt to try and make something happen, but realistically, is it going to do? Toxic Babe canisters being forced already, still with just under a minute left to play. Looks like there's a bit of panic setting in demo from Team 1.
3 of them clogged up. 4 of them clogged up in the same room, Ollie. This is not where Team 1 want to be. Muzi will take a trip into Vault, but look at them, 2 of them flight 19. Eskin will eliminate Muzi, though. Team 1 have came out swinging. Now they're playing the breach, but Kamikaze eliminates Alamau. A great long angle. Study control is still not in their favor. KDS will swing, eliminate Pino. It is going horrendous now for NIP as Team 1 will pick up flurry of kills. One after another they fall. Julio, all he had to do was sit here and hold the angle, but he cannot do that. And now they're down to 15 seconds. Somebody has to cover Kamikaze. He can't plant by himself. Julio, he has to make a move. He has to do something. Kamikaze eliminates the man behind the mirror window. Team 1, can they stop this from happening? Kamikaze rushes deep. Lagonis has to win it, but no! Kamikaze has pulled off a blinder. And Julio, all he had to do was get 1 kill, and he did that.
Julio certainly made up for some of those missed players on the rotation there. Kamikaze, He was a bit of a standout yesterday, and he's certainly stood up there inside of that round. NIP fighting till the bitter end, not letting one round slip. They cannot afford to let one round slip from this point onwards. A win there for Team 1 would have saw us take on our second map, but NIP fight back. Despite the odds, despite the unfavourable circumstance, it did help that a couple of players for Team 1 were significantly chipped down to 1 HP. But still, a round that goes to NIP. Can they do it again? Can they repeat this and start a little bit of a chain reaction and really get something going here? We're seeing the same site selected by Team 1, but there are a couple of changes coming through. We've got a Monty on the side of NIP. Psycho going to be making that change.
Welcome, Panic Monty. Welcome.
Yeah, the Panic Monty. Happy to have you. Psycho on Monty's been pretty scary, you know. It's not the first time this weekend.
Flexible. They're very flexible in terms of who can play the Monty, but I have to say that last round is just what a round. Best round of the series so far, definitely. It was more. They had more ups and downs, you know, than NIP's performance this year. It's been insane. Absolutely insane. And has that maybe stunned Team 1? Has that left them thinking, that should have been it? That should have been it. Now we've kind of opened the door, and NIP have stuck their foot directly in it. And what kind of statement does it send whenever we're seeing NIP pull out the Monty? What does that say about their mental game?
I'm not sure if it is a Panic Monty. Or if it's just like a get the job done Monty, you know? There may be two different Montys. There might be two different buttons that are pressed. Ooh,
whenever I think of NIP picking Monty, it's they don't have the information to get kills. They don't have the information to supply the knowledge to Pino and Muzi. And the Monty's usually seen as kind of like that human drone. Roamers haven't been an issue, I would say, for NIP, because Team 1 have been very quick just to fall back and like I said, be very docile on the bomb site. Just kind of sit and wait and see what happens. We've seen 4 of them in the same room last round, so I think that point is proven. So again, I'm a little bit shocked to see the Monty come out, because I don't really know what they would need it for.
Maybe it is just a case of they need a bit more of that information, and they want something to go along with it. I anticipate another slow round. That's usually where NIP go when things get pretty difficult. Psycho already seeing quite a big problem, just getting himself up main stairs. He's getting chipped down vertically. The Toxic Babes are pushing him off as well. Think of Stim. A couple of smokes from the attackers as well. He isn't going to entirely master the Toxic Babe gas though, Lagonis. Thanks a nade thrown vertically. It only deals a little bit of damage to him. Not too much to be concerned about there. Alamau still aggressing on the stairs. The longer he can hold on to here, for the better. This is where the problems really do start to come though. Dumps both of his impacts in at the Monty and dips himself back out. KDS is going to suffer as he falls to Pino as Pino marches up those main stairs. The Monty doing its job, forcing that location, being that beachhead that Team 1 need. Oh, sorry, that NIP need. Try and push on through. What are they going to be able to do off the back of it? They've still got to get themselves into sight. Is it going to be a single doorway push? Certainly that's where Psycho's framing up for at the moment. Player on 90. Alamau dips back. Knows that there's somebody on the 90 window. Kamikaze still outside. He's going to be the diffuser carrier and crucial in these next 35 seconds or so. Pino still trying to find the vertical angles as the rest of Team 1 just retreat back into the site, trying to hold something of value as Psycho harasses on the site, but eventually is going to be shut down, not supported by his team, and nobody there to take advantage of the information that he was gaining. Lagonis picks 2 before being traded. Muzi trying to find 1. He will, takes out Levy, and Neskin comes up, trumps as well, but he's going to be the last player alive, and he has to. Pino is going to be getting the plant down. A desperate C4 gets sent on out, but not a lot of information for Neskin here, as NIP have done what they do best, and that is take the bomb site, get the plant down, and play the post. Neskin moves on through, gets chipped down significantly, and taken out of action by Pino. The LMG on the thinker there, doing the business. The open mirror window, providing the opportunity for him, and Team 1 fall yet again, failing to convert this match point. NIP snapping at their heels now.
Yeah, Aviator and Games not working the best for Team 1, it has to be said, and I think overall, if you look at how NIP kind of played that bomb site, the Monty was kind of sent in to scout, to see who was in what position, and very quickly NIP capitalized that information. I think Muzi was in a very tricky position because he was kind of the main man who had to find the kill onto that mirror plane inside of map. So all credit to Muzi. If he had fallen, no study control, nobody to hold that post plant in that position. So overall, Muzi, a lot lay on his shoulders, surprisingly, and he managed to make it work.
Well, apparently we've only got Julio and Kamikaze playing for NIP at the minute. They're doing a great job to man all 5 operators. Must be a problem with the cameras for the players, but jokes aside, NIP fighting back yet again. 1 round away from leveling it up. This is where it becomes a scary possibility, Demo. Now, why have Team 1 chosen to go downstairs into the kitchen? Seen as the offsite. AVG isn't working for them. They can't close it out up there. They're going for information. Got 3 C4s here, and they're going to try and use them. Lagona's playing on the pulse. Going to try and give that active information players to work off the back of. Force NIP into the top floor clear. Give them a little bit more to focus on. Give them something to do and try and run out that clock. Seems like a noble strategy at this point from Team 1, but is it going to be enough?
And Team 1, see it out. Close out Villa. Remind Ollie that, of course, we head to Coastline next, which is NIP's map pick. Team 1 have went for play of locking in Villa right off the rip. Keep in mind there were other maps there that they could have went to, and definitely other maps that has favored Team 1. For example, you know, I looked at what was left before the map bans came in. I think of Oregon could have been a good map for Team 1. Could have been picked straight away. Even Bank as well. So there are other options for them, but they went for the Villa. They have confidence in themselves, but that confidence is slowly starting to fade away.
And as the confidence fades from Team 1, it increases from NIP's perspective. They're a team that know that they can do this. As you mentioned, going into their map choice next, we know them to be a good Coastline team. We know them to be a very adaptive team. Could be what they need here. Get the job done. Kamikaze going to be going for his trademark, trying to get open with those Selma charges from afar. Neskin kicks off things with a kill onto Muzi. Never ideal to lose the entry, especially somebody like Muzi who's had quite a big contribution up until this point. Long angle now being held. Something that you can try and exploit and cut the site in half with, but really need the manpower and the bodies. Still no initial thoughts for going for that vertical control, as Psycho is going to be up there kind of on his own at the moment. Having lost Muzi, he's lost his teammate in really commanding that upstairs area, and it's left to Pino and Psycho to try and get the job done there, but they could fall a little bit short. Not enough players to take advantage of so many open angles, Demo.
C4 will go amiss, though. Been a great pick, though, to get that sledge, but unfortunately Team 1 not find it. They still have 2 more C4s to have another punt, of course. They have the pulse that can feed out that information. Lagonis is doing just that. They've been able to spot out the man inside a laundry. There goes the nade dropped down beside Levy, but he will respond with a C4. Will that get a kill? Yes, it will. Down goes the sledge that they were hunting for so long, and I feared of NIP. This is the end of the road for them on Villa. Kamikaze falls, the diffuser gone. Julio has somehow found his way into kitchen, but that is a very short-lived dream of his to become a chef. And, well, Team 1, they do the business. They see it out on Villa. The kitchen works a wonder for them.
Made a lot of sense to go down to the kitchen. We kind of theorized that running NIP ragged with time and giving them a lot to do there was going to be the recipe for success, and it was exactly that. Team 1 able to get that opener. Neskin, great round for him as well. Went equal on the game, 10-10. Alamau 13-6. Really putting in a shift. You've really got to give NIP a pat on the back for how they performed in that one, and I don't think there's anybody that could argue that and say that they didn't give their all to that game demo. They fought against that match point for a couple of rounds in a row, for 3 rounds, and they were successful in 2 of them. There's a lot to take away there from that, and we've certainly seen a different NIP over the course of this weekend. But good to see Team 1 getting the result there. I feel like they attacked a little bit better, and they certainly made a couple more clinical decisions. We're going to bring Riley back in here so that we can unpack that game a little bit. Obviously, we've got another map yet to come inside of this best of 3.
Yes, we do. Looking forward to seeing it. NIP there. You know, good to see them at least rally demo. It looked like Team 1 were in a very commanding position and then kind of choking on a couple of match points there, but ultimately able to get the job done. But impressive stuff from both teams, I'd say. We've got a good contest going into the second map.
Yeah, I think that was real determination from both sides. Neither one rolling over, which I think is good to see. Maybe you thought at 6-3, okay, yeah, this is where Team 1 are just going to go in and take this a very clean victory. But no, NIP, they didn't let them. NIP fought to the bitter end, and I would have liked to have seen that go a little bit further, would have liked to have seen the overtime to really test both those sides, but Team 1, they did some great stuff, you know, kind of in the middle portion of that matchup. They get to that match point for so long. It was only a matter of time before they can kind of cross that finish line.
Yeah, and plenty of highlights from that match as well. We can have a look at some of them now. And Ollie, I mean, NIP in this position, certainly down, not out. They're going to be able to bounce back from this. They're going to come into the next map. And again, look, if this continues, we're going to get a good contest once again in our the second map of our semi-final.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know, Team 1, you can't count them out on Coastline. They're more than capable of coming out here and getting the result. So it really is on the line again. You know, NIP, they could take this 2-0, or we could be about to finally see our first 3-mapper. I'd like to see a 3-mapper, honestly, before we get to the finals tomorrow. I think we probably deserve it, especially with some of the quality of Siege that we're seeing and just how close a lot of these games are going.
All right, well, we're going to get set up for the next round, my friends. We're going to, we've got some replays to show, and then we're going to get stuck in with our second map, which, as we say, is Coastline. So stick around, everyone. On the other side of this, we've got more Siege coming up.
Esto es un flow universal y sé lo que dijo Dios, no lo que quise. De la maldad que Dios me libre. Y el respeto se gana, manito, eso no se consigue. Dale, ven, te quiero ver gozar y pasarla bien. Vamos, mira que caliente se ha puesto el weekend. La temperatura en 100 y el cuello frozen. Ya estamos en otro nivel, yo y Tommy que lo esté. Prendan los motores que nos vamos. Aquí todos los días son de verano. De lunes a lunes nunca paramos, yeah. Ya está saliendo el sol, ven y préndete. Esto es fácil, no me llames si tú andas con Lucy. Estamos en Miami, en un yate, un corito sano, no le pares. Yo no vuelvo para atrás. Cuello frío me senté en Alaska. Me dicen Tommy lo mucho que gastas. Estamos arriba, me senté en la NASA, mamá. La noche me llama, el asunto dice Tommy, pero no como Montana. Aunque el mundo es mío y de la primera dama. Navegando por La Habana, yo ando con 2 cubanas y tú hablas de jevita. Digo cadenas, con mi piquete, suprime la cartera. El sol caliente, la luna llena, con esos ojos que alumbran donde quiera. Tommy, prenden los motores que nos vamos. Acá todos los días son de verano. De lunes al lunes no paramos. Aquí todos los santos somos sanos. Prendan los motores que nos vamos. Aquí todos los días son de verano. De lunes a lunes nunca paramos, yeah. Ya está saliendo el sol, ven y préndete. Esto es fácil, no me llames si tú andas con Lucy. Estamos en Miami, en un yate, un corito sano, no le pares. El Lovin, ya tú sabes quién es, junto con Tommy, el único aquí directamente desde el estado debajo del sol. Tenemos la sangre caliente.
Yeah, yeah. Somos leyenda. Check out. Ok, ja. Dime Ronaldinho. Siendo una leyenda lo sabía desde niño. Fuesen en cariño. Comiendo el almuerzo me faltaba el aliño. Porque no frontea, mini. Si tú tienes porte te lo juro no eres fea. Flow duro como un Lamborghini. Solo a las cosas como quieres y donde sea. Somos leyenda, 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 leyendas vivas. Somos leyenda, 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 leyendas vivas. La gente pone ponen las reglas para que los otros las sigan. Afuera, afuera esa gente que siempre tiene esa manía. Somos somos las leyendas vivas. Somos las leyendas vivas. Stop. Yo no la vivo para que opinen sobre mi estilo, como me defines. Tú no eres Dios para que me ilumines, pa' que no hables a ver si es que tú mejor te afines. Bla 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 bla, puro chisme habla y no para. Se lo digo en la cara, no te compares, falta de humildad. Y tú hablas de mucho cómo se hace y no sabes ni la mitad. Somos leyenda, 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 leyendas vivas. Somos leyenda, 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 leyendas vivas. La gente pone las reglas para que los otros las sigan. Afuera, afuera esa gente que siempre tiene esa manía. Somos somos las leyendas vivas. Somos las leyendas vivas. Ahora te digo algo, ¿ok? Ya, escucha. Gente, yo soy fan de todo menos de gente con maldad. Ahora ser diferente es un delito en este lugar. Todos somos leyenda, pero por algo hay que empezar. Soy leyenda en Pekín, también en Hong Kong, en cualquier lugar.
¿Quién va a ser? ¿Quién eres tú para decir lo que es? Juego como Messi, estilo Higuita. Este partido ya nadie nos quita. Vamos a la disco, y matamos la pista, yeah. Aquí toda mi gente, sí. Somos pura leyenda, sí.
Somos leyenda, 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 leyendas vivas. Somos leyenda, 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 leyendas vivas. La gente pone las reglas para que los otros las sigan. Afuera, afuera esa gente que siempre tiene esa manía. Somos
We are back. Excuse me. We are back live with coverage of our next semi-final, Coastline, Team 1 versus NIP. Ollie and Demo, the casters, take it away.
Thank you, Riley. We are only going to places that we've been before, Demo. It seems as though we've got either
Seems as though they hate us.
a very bad navigation system, or we're just not explorers. Maybe we're not meant to be sort of taking
You
over
said we were
new
going
land.
to. You said if I cast this weekend, we'd be casting Consulate. Well, how come we haven't got there?
What? When did I say that? I said cafe. We might get there. Cafe is
I
still...
want to see Consulate back.
Cafe is still an opportunity. It's not a bad second.
I actually miss theme park. I was actually playing theme park the other day. I actually miss it.
It's true. Theme park would be nice.
It was a map with a lot of potential, but we never really got to see it because it was just so short-lived, which is sad to think about.
I think it was the shortest lived map ever, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was 6 months, I want to say. I think, anyway. What about Skyscraper? Never got to see that in comp. Well, old Skyscraper we did, but not the new one.
I remember some of the first games I ever watched were old Skyscraper. I remember watching, and I can't remember who the player was, but they used like an entire magazine or two of Bandits MP7 to open up a rotation, and it was like the talking point of the game because it was just controversial. And you just think about that in the context of what we have now, it's mind-blowing.
Yes, indeed. Just how the game has evolved. If you were to go back and watch a game from year 1, season 1, Ollie, you'd think it was a different game. You would.
It was, for all intents and purposes. Given the percentage change, it's it is an entirely different game in the way that it's played now. Still got the core fundamentals though, and that is what we love. So, Coastline. Team 1 versus NIP. Team 1 currently lead by 1 map in this best of 3. We need to see some success here from NIP, and they're not going to find it if they're not in the server. Bit of a DC. Forfeit victory. It was a very short-lived best of 3 here, Demo.
Congratulations to Team 1.
Congrats. They don't look very pleased, though, do they?
No,
Look at the faces.
What's this about? Fellas, you just won. You're going into the final.
Not happy at all, are they?
Nope.
Well.
Alamau, look at the facial expression from Alamau. Look at him.
Yeah, he was out for blood, wasn't he? He's like, I needed my 15 kills. I needed my fix. It's kind of strange, actually, because we've got Alamau on the left-hand side of Lagonis and on the right-hand side of Neskin. And he's got his own camera as well.
Yeah.
He really is the star of the show, isn't he?
He's just everywhere and anywhere at the same time, isn't he? He sits in the middle, doesn't he, whenever they're playing at LAN?
Well, I imagine he's sat in the middle there, given that he's on the left and the right of 2 different cameras.
Yeah, well, yeah, so whenever they're all sat together, of course, I'm pretty sure he sits in the middle, so... I think anyway, but... Wait, does it look as if he's maybe... Looks as if he's sitting actually right to the middle, so second middle.
Middle right?
I need to go check some pictures to see if he is sat in the middle. I don't know, it feels as if he was sat in the middle.
We can probably work this out, because KDS is going to be on the... If you're looking at them, he's on the left, right?
Levy's on the far end, so Levy's on the far left, KDS is then second left. It looks as if Lagonis is in the middle, and then Alamau's beside him, and then Neskin on the very end.
Oh, okay, so you're thinking that everything's flipped, aren't you?
What?
That Neskin's on the left of the desk. Or on the right.
Yeah, so if you're standing behind them, he's in the very right.
Ah, I'm standing in front of him.
Oh, you're standing in front of them. It's always a classic whenever, you know, when, like if you're playing Siege and you're like on a Valkyrie camera and you see somebody move onto a doorway and you were to call, oh, he's on the left-hand side of the doorway,
yeah,
and your teammate swings onto the right, and then you realize, oh wait, that was my left.
So which way do you?
Because
I always try and call it from their
I call
POV.
for the person. Yeah, I call for the person.
Yeah. I think that's like fairly, like, accepted. It's just the courteous thing to do, really, isn't it?
It is indeed.
So we've just had a reason through for the tech pause. NIP have lost power to the gaming house, which if you've watched any sort of BR6 at all, you'll know that it isn't as dramatic as it seems. It is something that does tend to happen quite regularly. Power can be a little bit difficult, especially due to like weather and storms and things like that. It's something that's happened to Furia, it's something that's happened to Team 1. It happens fairly regularly. So no real cause for concern, but of course it is going to throw us into a little bit of a delay here while we wait to get NIP back in. We will just wait for confirmation on what we're going to do for that. I think we'll bring Riley back. It's usually a good thing to do. Riley can steady the ship for the meantime as we figure out just what's going on with NIP here.
Riley's here to take care of things, boys. Don't worry, I'm here to look after
Save
it.
us, Riley.
Look, we're going to take a quick break. Looks like NIP are going to need a little bit of time here to get themselves sorted out. So as soon as that's resolved, we'll be back with more Siege, of course. But we are going to take a break in the meantime. And once there are more details, of course, we'll let you know exactly how things are going to progress. But stick around. We will be back with more live Siege before very much longer. Looks like we're going to go to a break now. And then after that, we'll be back, hopefully, with the conclusion of Team 1 versus NIP. Stick around.
Yeah, I got next up, right? No, we not the same. Cause see, when I look in your iris, you likely to talk but not ready to ride. You do better keeping it quiet. My pen is ignited, my soul is enlightened. I like who I am, but I'm biased. The palette is right, and my drip is a fountain. I'm not like these regular guys. All of that talk is misguided. She like the way I make the tape print, but the way I make the words play is grim. I'm the reaper reaching for the kill switch. The label cut the check like the bladesman. Something sparking where his brain is. The beat is somewhere where they prayers in. Geronimo, the way I make the bass jump when no parachute is tasteless. They likely to run their mouth, but when they see you face to face, they quick with the shape shift. Up through the night, work the grave shift. Batted from the cradle to the grave. Big mad how they face tense. Look both ways for you catch fade. I'm a nice guy on the inside. Still, I'm not somebody to be played with. Keep it all the way 1,000. I don't remember how the ground feels. I left the city, I've been browsing. Treading water that they drown in. My head on the swivel, yeah. It's only really my surroundings. They keep it all the way 1,000. I don't remember how the ground feels. I left the city, I've been browsing. Treading water that they drown in. My head on the swivel, yeah. It's only really my surroundings. Can't stop, won't stop. Till I tour the world when the glow trap. Better keep it dope, let it stove top. Type of thing I hide in a tube sock. I done skipped town on a new block, but I'm still around if you just not. Better hold it down when the groove drop, where I kick down for the crowd, a balloon pop. Bet they come around for my moolah, better run them out of town for they hoopla. Queen, she a hun like Mulan, everything the hoes what they were, but they just not. They be right up in your face with a fake stop. They be thinking it's a game, but it's just not. They be thinking we the same, but they subpar. Leave from drug through the mud when the flood stop, pull up. Hey, I feel amazing. Pyramid scheme, how I play the angle. I send it to your girl, but I make a facelift. This is your brain motivation. I be hella wild, but you can't tame me. Got the keys to the cradle with no cable. Smelling like basil. Yeah, I got the flavor. I ain't got no patience. Kept it with a savor. I be on their nerve, bet it feel painful. Looking sour when I serve, had a dish tasted. Triple conversation. Give them waves till they make shit the flotation. It's outrageous. Righteous with the sound, but a finger razor to the whole nation. Yelling out 12 till they throw me in the cell, but then make bail for the young and rebellious generation. Keep it all the way 1,000. I don't remember how the ground feels. I left the city, I've been browsing. Treading water that they drowning. My head on the swivel, yeah. It's only really my surroundings. They keep it all the way 1,000. I don't remember how the ground feels. I left the city, I've been browsing. Treading water that they drowning. My head on the swivel, yeah. It's only really my surroundings.
Ahora tengo lo que yo de niño quise. Todos quieren un pedazo de lo que hice. Se gozo sin joder como mamá dice. Mi mamá dice a Miami con un par de cuero. Yeah. Lo que quiero es gozar el dinero y nada más. Esta historia es solo un caballero. Yeah, yeah. Yo no vengo a ronquear, solo vengo pa' contar. Pa' Miami con un par de cuero. Yeah. Lo que quiero es gozar el dinero y nada más. Esta historia es solo un caballero. Yeah. Yo no vengo a ronquear, solo vengo pa' contar. Yeah,
Estoy
yeah,
listo pa'
yeah.
Miami, esta vaina está al toque. Poniéndome bien lindo, lo que armamos un derroche. Un saludo a toda la mami, la veo en el bloque. Meneando su cadera en honor a esta noche. La cartera Louis V, me la ponen en mi mesa. Me sirve mi Genesis, ando mal en la cabeza. Pana que tú quieres mi, prometo no me interesa. Estás hablando con un G, no quiero nada que estresa,
Pa'
nada.
Miami con un par de cuero, yeah. Lo que quiero es gozar el dinero y nada más. Esta historia es solo un caballero, yeah, yeah. Yo no vengo a ronquear, solo vengo pa' contar. Pa' Miami con un par de cuero, yeah. Lo que quiero es gozar el dinero y nada más. Esta historia es solo un caballero, yeah. Yo no vengo a ronquear, solo vengo pa' contar, yeah, yeah, yeah.
¿Cómo me ves, mami? Tú te ves bien, mami. Me miras a mí, mami. Me acerco a ti, mami. Quiero ser tu papi. Me pasa tu número, aquí hay un lápiz. Quiero el menú, mami. Se ve un perro, mami. Ja. Quizá me dejas invitarte una cita. Ja. Vino tinta en una playa margarita, yes. Bailando salsa que no hay nada que agita, nah. Una cena con calamares y salsita. Dale un baile en la playa, un batido de papaya. Nos movemos como mantarraya, tu cabello falla. Y en Maya invita lo que tiene en su malla. Tú me llamas con tu corazón, tú lo pitas. Dale un baile en la playa, un batido de papaya. Nos movemos como mantarraya, tu cabello falla. Y en Maya invita lo que tiene en su malla. Tú me llamas con tu corazón, tú
Pa'
lo
Miami
pitas.
con un par de cuero, yeah. Lo que quiero es gozar el dinero y nada más. Esta historia es solo un caballero, yeah, yeah. Yo no vengo a ronquear, solo vengo pa' contar. Pa' Miami con un par de cuero, yeah. Lo que quiero es gozar el dinero y nada más. Esta historia es solo un caballero, yeah. Yo no vengo a ronquear, solo vengo pa' contar, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Apenas son las 11, tiempo de relajar. Llena la copa, saca el caballo pa' cabalgar. rico con chorizo. Wow, baby, alguna vez probaste el erizo. Oh, baby, esa vaina te prometo está muy divino. Con un poco de limón y vino, un poco de la boca, no y pico, somos latinos. Baby, discúlpame, me desvié de lo importante. Era el vino, el caballo, tú mi comandante. Yo estoy listo al instante. Un cafecito para despertar de este sueño tan elegante.
Ahora tengo lo que yo de niño quise. Todos quieren un pedazo de lo que hice. Y hago eso sin joder como mamá dice. Mi mamá dice: por Miami con un par de cuero. Ya, lo que quiero es gozar el dinero y nada más. Tu historia es solo un caballero. Ya, yo no vengo a ronquear, solo vengo pa' contar. Pa' Miami con un par de cuero. Ya, lo que quiero es gozar el dinero y nada más. Tu historia es solo un caballero. Ya, yo no vengo a ronquear, solo vengo pa' contar. Ya, ya, ya.
Vea. Dime, ¿te recuerdas? Wow.
Recuerdos míos de esa noche, cuando yo te tuve aquí, solo pa' mí. A ver, recuerda cuando te escapabas y tu novio a ti te llamaba y tú me lo mamabas y te lo tuve que repetir. Solo pa' mí, yo te comí. Bebita chiquita, bonita.
Ella siempre me llamaba porque la dejaban con las ganas. Y yo siempre la hice que llegara como 5 veces a la semana. Tú supiste que tenía novio, pero me pisaba con el hoyo.
A mí me decía que a mí me quería, pero yo no quise más de ti. Y ahí fue cuando yo tomé la salida y también me fui. Ya no quise más de ti. Recuerdos míos de esa noche, cuando yo te tuve aquí. Solo pa' mí.
And my friends, we are back with live coverage of the LATAM League finals here. We do apologise for the delay there, heading back into Coastline now to get stuck in with Team 1 versus NIP after a brief pause. Once again, apologies for the delay, but it looks like we are ready to get it done now. So I'll leave you in the capable hands of our casters here, Demo and Ollie.
Thank you very much, Riley. We are ready to kick off once again. Power has been restored. NIP back in business. Thank you for bearing with us during that short break. I trust that everyone spent it wisely, hydrating themselves. We're all ready to kickstart into map number 2 in what is going to be our last best of 3 today. Team 1 versus NIP. Team 1 already lead by 1 map. They won Villa. And here we are on Coastline to see if it is going to be another 2-map affair.
Certainly could be. Team 1, I think with how they were playing, Ollie, they were just running around doing their own thing, weren't they? Alamau was on his form, was on his game, but mind that this is NIP's map choice. This is Coastline at the end of the day. I think back to the first week, NIP, this was the first map that he played this stage, as things, I mean, I suppose the unravel of NIP kind of began on Coastline, where they lost 8-7 to Liquid in that opening matchup, and they have had their fair share of wins on it as well. Keep that in mind. They beat Furia here. Remember, Furia, a very strong Coastline team. Well, maybe they didn't show up today, of course, against FaZe, but certainly a team that is one that you don't really want to mess with on Coastline, but NIP were still able to win that matchup against them.
Well, we'll see if NIP can prove themselves here against Team 1. Strange that we've seen the same 2 maps played today. It's difficult to know if we're coming or going, especially given the order that we played them in. This is, of course, the map that we started off the evening on.
Yep.
Pino thinking about a C4, laid prone, could get away with this one. Sends it out, sends it flying, detonates. Lagonis misses it midair and gets chunked down to 1 HP.
Well, I think that's a Good trade-off, though. That's quite worth. Levy will find Pino. Muzi takes so much damage. Doesn't really do a lot to any of the Team 1 members outside of Blue Bar window. That's good information. That's 2 players that they've spotted on the site now. Muzi, does he really want to be taking these long angles, considering his HP as if he will? And, oh, cannot control the MX4 Storm. And that's usually a weapon only that we kind of highlight as having very little recoil. Lagonis finally will get finished off by Psycho. I think that was just an accident waiting to happen there, Ollie, wasn't Lagonis? See now if he can push through this and if he can still feed any information. Of course, the drones are still up, Ollie, still in abundance to try and assist Team 1.
Yeah, they've got plenty of drones available. They've got time on their side as well. The diffuser shouldn't be that difficult to recover. Still, they need to make some significant progress here. NIP have been chipped down. Muzi not sitting at full. Nade goes out there onto Cool Vibe. Kind of telegraphs the position and the intent here from Team 1. As a full rotation is going to happen. Looks as though we could be stacking up quite heavily for an aquarium-sided take. At least that's where the players moving would indicate at this moment in time. Neskin going to be pushing through into luggage. Levy sees some success onto Muzi. Neskin did get tagged up from the back, but got caught out on the trade. Impressive stuff to be able to take Kamikaze down there, and it levels things out at 2 versus 2. Now the push in through aquarium is going to happen. Levy and KDS going to try and make it so. 2 of the main gunners really in the Iana and the Ash. This is who you want in this kind of firefight. No plant denial available here from NIP, but Psycho catches Levy and Julio swings for KDS. Killer piece there for the remaining 2 players on NIP.
Yeah, got off the diffuser. Maybe the call came in. We have to push for the kills, and they tried to go for it, but NIP were ready. NIP were up for the kind of aggression that we would maybe not expect from this current NIP side, but they definitely brought the heat in that coastline. Swinging really in positions that I don't think Team 1 were expecting. I look at that kill into 90 corridor. Was Neskin really expecting to see somebody swing that? Probably not, but that trade was massive. If that was a 2v3 in that situation, would have been a completely different story for NIP, but thankfully for them, it has paid off. And I mean, a bit of a risk. If you looked at the lineup from NIP in that round, didn't really have anything to deny a plant going down. All they had was bodies, I suppose.
Well, let's see if NIP are able to continue that. As you mentioned, no denial. It's not easy to rely on the kills every time. They're not really bringing that much denial this time either. They've only got the Goyo with the C4. And even that isn't a great deal. Now, maybe they're not expecting too much of a plant-based game as Siege to be going down here. But still, it's something that's worth taking note of. Team 1, on the other hand, sticking with what almost worked in the previous. Alamar on the Nook brings a couple more nades. Nades are abundant for Team 1 at the moment. Something that they're looking to really take advantage of. Yeah, strange old setup from NIP. Really leaning quite heavily into that denial, into that soak kind of meta. The nades, they combat that quite well.
They do indeed. Nades, of course, from Team 1. 3 sets. Alamau enjoying his time in the Nook. Well, yes, but it's going to be changed at this time around. And this was the hold that we've seen from NIP before, Ollie. We've seen this kind of strategy where they would open up the 2 soft walls and have a castle barricade in the middle of it, and it gives them a lot of options to swing. They can swing left, they can swing right, and they're really playing into the 50-50s at that stage. So I do like this setup from NIP, a very strong penthouse and theater hold. Worked very well against Liquid, if memory serves me right. We'll see if it can also stump Team 1 in terms of how they want to try and play this round out. They have peppered that wall with a lot of different openings from the Habana pellets, and now they've dropped in towards bathroom. Team 1 might be trying to walk in and go for a quick hunt, but they can't really do that if Muzi is in that position. Never mind, they've rushed deep. Do they have the denial? They should have a C4. Pino will toss one out, and that will connect. It has to. Yes, it will. Lagonis goes down. Team 1 tried to pull a fast one, but Ollie, the only issue with what's happened now is that castle barricade's gone.
Castle barricade has been removed. Of course, gives opportunity for Pino to try and peek as well. 4 versus 3, as a lot of gunfire is going down. Team 1 still need to fight their way back to the diffuser. It's cold on the ground at the moment, and it's not in the easiest position to get to. Levy to be able to take down Kamikaze as the flank is on here, and Julio is paying all of his attention to those white stairs. Pino, on the other hand, needs to try and keep himself alive. Takes down Alamau as he crosses, desperately trying to recover said diffuser. This could be enough here for NIP, but they've got to desperately try and hold on. KDS eventually shuts Pino down. Julio still watching for this flank. He's been so patient. He needs to be deserved of the kill. He flies over the top rope and shut down by Levy. You watch that angle for the entirety of the round, it feels like, and even then, it wasn't enough. It resulted in a down, but that's all it will ever be.
I have to commend Team One. I don't know if it was intentional in terms of the play they made in the kind of opening minute where they rushed in for a quick plant, and that did force the castle barricade to go down. I don't know if that was the intention from Team One, is to remove that castle barricade. We see as soon as that castle barricade goes down, NIP struggle to find a nice position to really play from. We've seen the Goyo, couldn't really get anything going, but I have to commend Levy. The flank that he hit going through lobby up the white stairs was brilliant. Finds one kill. It then means that Julio has to look at Levy. He cannot support his teammate in that scenario. And then you're basically creating a 1v1, and then on the other side of things, you're creating a 3v1. It's great work, as to be said, from Team One in that element to create so many issues for NIP in their setup. But again, I don't know if it was intentional to remove that castle barricade. I do not know.
Well, let's see. One round apiece. Nothing clear at this moment in time, aside from the fact that we have likely got a game on our hands, and therefore a series. These two battling it back and forth. Nothing between them at the minute. It's kind of how we expected it to go. Pending both teams showing up, which I think they have done. We've not seen a distinct lack from either side thus far. And I'd be willing to show that aggression here and demonstrated in the lineup again. They've doubled down on the C4s this time, but still not choosing to bring the smoke. Not choosing to really start to try and deny that area and stuff, which it maybe is something that they need to start thinking about, because Team One do look a little bit plant focused. I know that Penthouse and Theatre is one of the sites that you can get a plant down on, but still, it is a focus that they have got. And maybe the C4s aren't always going to be enough to carry them through.
NIP. Now, and we have seen this site, Ollie, really develop. It's all about lobby control these days for teams. They want to try and hold lobby because they open up that entire triple wall of pantry. With the changes, of course, coming in from Coastline this season, is that you can no longer just simply plant. That's a great shot from Neskin. You can no longer plant on the door that he has just ran in from. Nate's going everywhere also. And NIP have actually came out the worst end of those trades. 2 players gone, Kamikaze and Pino. However, we do see a trade-off. Muzi, one back. Lagones, there's a plant going down right on the pantry. Can anyone stop it? No, they cannot. Ollie, what has happened? Muzi, he had one job.
It's probably the first time we've ever seen a plank go down on Kitchen as well this stage. It's not really been a very common occurrence. Team One are desperately trying to keep hold of it in the post. It's 1 versus 2. Julio, his location known. He's actually just going to hightail it straight for the diffuser here and try and get on it. He might actually be able to stick this. Lagonis, Levy, where are you? I don't want to see Julio's POV. I want to know where these attackers are. What is going on? Finally, he gets pushed, but it was close, Demo.
Oh my. Both of them not in a great position, only to hold that diffuser, and both of them just running rampage straight at him. I suppose the idea was, well, he can't kill us both in that space of time, and oh, they got their man just in time. I would have highly of doubt to see the diffuser kind of be pulled off at that stage. I think it was 0.7 seconds left, so very, very close, but NIP, have to question, how is a diffuser being allowed to get planted in that position? Because that really shouldn't happen. I have a couple of ideas how they actually managed to get in that position, Ollie, because it seemed as if the diffuser started being planted out of nowhere. And we seen a nade kill come in. Whenever it was 4v3 to Team 1, a nade kill happened. And that was the only man inside a kitchen. Remember, Neskin pulled off a great shot onto the man in delivery. Then they managed to get a nade kill on the guy in kitchen. The other 3 were off site. That's usually what we find for the kitchen service holds, is there's 2 guys sitting in the bomb site, and the other 3 are out and about around the map. If you kill those 2 anchors, it's free real estate, and I think that was shown very professionally from Team 1. They adapted, they realized the position they were in, and they took everything that they could.
Again, an opportunistic team. It's something that we've categorized Team 1 as a couple of times now. Seen an opportunity and they've been able to take it. There was a bulletproof camera on the wall that was really feeding Julio that information as well, and he must have just thought he had enough time to get it down because it would have been difficult to take the gunfight there. A close round nonetheless. Coastline going the way we expect at the moment. Slightly skewed toward the attackers, especially with the game that Team 1 are bringing. Very plant focused. Only now we're starting to see a smoke be brought. Kamikaze in round number 4 recognizing that and saying, you know what? Might be time for the smoke. Keep your C4s, we'll still bring 2, but we need a little bit more plant denial here.
NIP have lost that lead that they gained after the first round, and one are starting to pull it back. However, we do head up, of course, to the hookah. Brandon, where NIP had good standing. We're going to try and target specific positions that they maybe missed last time. I'll remember that shield was left up the entirety of the last round, and you have to commend Team 1. They've seen that as an issue, and they have dealt with that very swiftly. Oh, Alamau. A great swing. Muzi, an even better swing. Alamau, he's seen his face lit up as he got killed. He wasn't ready for that one. Levy, though, still has a man advantage back in Team 1's favor. Only that seems to be the 3rd round in a row where Team 1 have consistently won the opening trade battle.
Team 1 doing a really good job of that statistic at the moment, and it's standing them in great stead. On the attack, you need to be aggressing. You need to be deciding where that push is going to happen and then fully committing to it. And that's what Team 1 are doing at the moment. It's one of the reasons why they are consistently able to not only get the opener, but get the one afterwards as well. KDS, next player to fall immediately. We do have somebody challenging on to Kamikaze, and they're chunking down somewhat. Julio as well, seeing a little bit of pressure and a little bit of fire here. Neskin, what a shot! You don't often get to see that, but what a flick through the soft wall. Takes Muzi's head off, picks up his 2nd on the round onto Julio. Kamikaze, cool vibe stairs, last remaining player. 3 toxic babes, but for what? He's unlikely going to get to use them, even with a minute left. He too falls to the might of Neskin, who picks up 3 on the round.
Brilliant work. Neskin has been hitting some lovely shots. Just right place, right time for Team 1 right now, and have stormed away after losing that opening bomb site. They have adapted very swiftly to how NIP have been setting up, and now 3-1 to Team 1. I do fear for NIP because at this stage they're already a map down. They're 3-1 down now on their own map pick. I hope NIP just don't think, oh well, you know what? Let's just roll over. I hope we don't see that, because it is definitely feasible. Keep in mind, both these sides have got what they wanted out of this competition, which is the spot in the major. Is that all NIP wanted from it? Is that it? Are they just going to go back to same old, same old?
It's possible. It's something worth bearing in mind. Especially with the scoreline the way that it is currently. Even at this point, you think it's quite a big mountain to climb, right? Because we know how Team 1 are going to act on the defense. Team 1 have gotten to this point. Alamau's 1-4, by the way. Like, this isn't Team Alamau, and it never has been. He just is the player that tends to gather the most attention. But you look at Neskin, 6-2. Levy, 7-1. Levy, probably one of the best entries, one of the best Ash players that we've got inside of the league. Really consistent on that stat line. KDS as well, going evens at the moment, not setting the world on fire, but still. That's where the contribution's coming from inside of this game, and it's only going to get more dangerous when players like Alamau start to get on that level as well. NIP, they need to come up with some answers, and they need to do it fairly quickly. We're seeing the kitchen again. I'm pretty sure that I can hand on heart say we've seen this site planted onto once, and it was only a couple of rounds ago.
Yeah.
Not something that we're seeing all too much. For anyone unfamiliar, the changes of Coastline included a change that you can no longer plant in pool entrance. You've got to plant a little bit deeper. Pretty much where Kamikaze was there, taking Levy out of action.
With that one. He's seen the reaction in Levy's face. He's like, oh, have I died to that? So, for the first time, it seems as if NIP actually on a good position to start the round opening, and 1. What they're going to do now, they've lost Levy, who is currently their top performer, 7 kills to his name. NIP still fishing for their top performer. All of them are on the board, but nothing more than max of 3 kills for the players of NIP. If someone can change that right now. Kamikaze inside a kitchen will be bombarded with a set of nades, and takes a bit of shrapnel. Almost found a headshot also onto KDS, but still alive, and Not for long, though, for Laguna, so he tried to go for the same old jumping, and Team 1 have tried to storm in towards Kitchen. They found Psycho, but do they know about Kamikaze? No, they do not. He'll pick up a double kill, almost finds the third on Taneskin. Alamau now left in the clutch position, a 1 versus 3 for himself. He is inside of Sunrise, far away from his team there, Ollie. 1v3 does not have the diffuser and has no idea the position of NIP.
Well, he finds one onto Kamikaze. I'm sure if he knows the other player is inside of Garden. Julio just keeping himself alive there for long enough. He could have probably done away with actually losing Kamikaze there if he'd have played a little bit more aggro, but just wanted to guarantee that kill. NIP desperately trying to guarantee a round here and try and bring things level to 3 apiece. Team 1 still in the lead, but NIP an opportunity to level things up now. A lot scrappier. Team 1 not really dealing well with losing that opening kill. It was lost very early as well, and that's the danger of Coastline as a map, is that you can very regularly lose opening kills in the really early stages of the round, just because it can be a bit spawn peaky. It can be a little bit aggressive like that. Seeing a couple of changes brought through here as the Nook is selected by Alamau. Obviously wants the sneaky sneak, and he wants the nades once again.
Indeed. I mean, he has, again, a very wide operator pool, doesn't he? Didn't he play the most different operators at Mexico? I think that was a statistic.
Yeah,
that
I think it was, yeah.
Definitely his. So, you know, very flexible player, can play anything you need him to. 3-2 is how we stand. I mean, that last round, for me, all it just felt as if they lost the opening engagement and they tried something extremely bold and very boisterous, and it just didn't work. Stuff like that doesn't work against NIP. If NIP are in a commanding position, which they were for the entirety of that round, it's not going to work.
And again, it shows NIP's ability to just turn it on. Muzi maybe going for a little bit of a... It's not quite a run out, it's more of a crouch out at this point. We can see there is going to be nobody there, nobody home. Muzi. Nice attempt, but alas, not successful. Cameras are getting thrown outside now just to provide a little bit more info to peek from. Team 1 looks to get themselves onto the roof and start exploiting some of the angles that are available to them. Attacking into double bar. Couple of nice cameras out there as Muzi's flicking through and just giving us a bit of a showcase. Nice Hall of Fame cam. A lot of presence upstairs for NIP as well, so Team 1 going to have to go in for that full clear. So far, they're kind of taking the sweet time about things, Demo. They've got open into Sauna, but realistically, that's all they've got at the minute.
Yeah, not rushing at all, are they? Just nice and slow as fast as they can. How do they go about killing their own presence that NIP have? There's a nade. Nades have been flying everywhere against NIP. See the sledge even inside a bedroom. Hunt the guys inside a kitchen using the vertical angles. Team 1 maybe we're setting up just to try and walk in again, but it hasn't worked for them. Kamikaze, he is the watcher, he is the warden off this Sunrise bar. Tosses out a smoke for good measure. Once again, Team 1 very bold, very boisterous, is trying to get away with bloody murder. It seems to be KDS has found 2 kills though. That has certainly changed the direction of how this round was going. All it looks as if Team 1, they are in firm control of the round, and they will have even more control as Alamau has swung in. Muzi should be here for the refry. Cannot find the angle, though. Onto the Nook. He's been able to hide himself away behind that wall. Levy will hold Dino as he tries to rotate in towards office, and Alamau even dumpsters Muzi. What a round. Where did that come from, Ollie?
Well, it all came off the back of KDS and picking up 2 very important kills in onto the site. Team 1 in a great position to collapse then when they needed to. Some good positioning, particularly from Alamau there, getting himself onto that key location underneath the default camera outside of blue. There is a lot that you can do to command the area, especially when you've got a man count advantage from that position. 4-2 for Team 1. Can they continue this kind of a scoreline? If so, they could be locking themselves into our finals tomorrow, locking themselves in for a date with FaZe Clan. They are the team that are already confirmed for the grand finals of the Copa Elite 6 tomorrow, and this game is to find out who's going to be joining them. So far, Team 1 have to be the favourites. They won map 1 and they are ahead here inside of map 2. NIP, they need to dig deep now. The sides have switched. They're on the attack. They need to show us what they've got.
Keep in mind, last time FaZe and Team 1 played each other, Ollie, it does seem like quite a while ago in the regular season. It was an 8-7, and then, obviously, if we look at how they faced off against each other in the Copa Elite 6, it was Team 1. So, both sides this season winning against one another, and it would be nice to see the decider in that engagement to see who really is the best. NIP, can they battle back? They now switch onto their attacking side of Coastline, which, again, if we reminisce to them against Liquid, they managed to win 4 attacks on their side. And then also, if we look at the Furia game also, they managed to win 3 attacks. So attacks, not too bad for NIP as it goes, but that was in the early weeks of NIP before that kind of stature and the, I would say, the confidence just kind of faded away.
See where the confidence is at inside of this round. Psycho rocking the Zafir LMG. Muzi on the Finker. Sorry, not Blue Bar. Billiards, Hookah and Billiards is going to be the site chosen. Psycho. You could watch that angle all day long and really cut through, especially with the LMG. He's going to be all the way out on Ruins looking through double window. Pino just trying to gather a little bit of information. There's quite a lot to wade through here. And you would maybe like the Zafir playing a little bit more forward in order to assist that.
I like the Valk. Valk's a great choice now for this bomb site, Ollie, especially whenever... There's no way that NIP are going to force an IQ. So I think the Valkyrie cameras, wait till you see, I think that might have a big part to say in this round.
Quite possibly. Psycho's at least pushing up now in an attempt to assist to deal with everything that's been set up here by Team 1. It's certainly looking a little bit soaky. You've got the ADSs, you've got the magnets. You have no longer got your beloved Valkyrie. Sent to the cameras. ADS is going to fall. Interestingly, flicking through the POVs and only now getting himself onto the cameras. So maybe not so much information out there for them, but at least he needed to stick onto one camera for a good deal of time. Vertical control now being pressured. This is an NIP special. Kamikaze, he's going to take down Neskin. Lagonis battles back. Picks up his second on the round onto Pino, immediately shutting down the push in through Hookah. Now there's a lot of concern and a lot of attention being paid toward Luggage as players continue to fall. Lagonis, how does he get away with this? Pulls out the C4, picks up the quad kill. Can he snag himself the ace? Julio, he's not giving him that opportunity. He's got himself onto the roof. He's saying, you know what, I do not want to give the ace away to Lagonis. He has almost single-handedly won the round from inside of Hookah. Instead, Julio going to hold the angle from the roof. The diffuser cold on the ground in the middle of the doorway into Aquarium. Julio, not a lot really to go on here. Air jabs off the door. Lagonis knows this, and he's after a hero. He needs someone to burn that air jab for him so he can run out and find that final kill. Instead, playing things safe, looks to pre-fire. Can he move on through? The left-hand side of the doorway is the call. Needs to land the shots. He's going to get full white flashed. What's he going to be able to do? Both players full white flashed as Alamau pops up behind the deployable. Lagonis, is he going to send himself out there? He's got the SMG in hand. Can he land the shots? No, he went for it. It was a great attempt. Alamau picks up the pieces. You cannot fault Lagonis for that at all. 4 spectacular kills on the round.
Said that maybe the Valkyrie cameras would have a big part to play in that round, Ollie, but the leading role goes to Lagonis. Unbelievable. You can't teach that. Phenomenal work to really pull his team back in. I loved what NIP tried to do. Ollie, did you see that they went below and they used the Sophia impacts to push him out behind the hookah bar right into a line of sight of the guy in Aquarium? I thought that was great from NIP, but Lagonis, my word. Great play from him. And that has shot Team 1 right into the front fold now. 2 rounds away from locking Coastline up, and NIP deflated on all accords. That was a very good chance for them to get themselves back into the game, but letting one individual player do that to you, that has to stink.
It really does, and the momentum's got to be with Team 1 after that one. You could see they're very pleased with themselves, particularly Lagonis. Massive shift that he's put in there. It's always nice to see a player pop off in that sort of fashion. Everyone really pull them out here for Team 1. Not a lot in between the top and the bottom kill lead. 5 for KDS and Lagonis, 8 for Levy, and a 6 and a 7 in between. So everybody keeping competitive with one another. An equal contribution across the board. And Demo, as you say, a 5-2 scoreline. A mountain for NIP to now try and climb. 2 rounds is all that stands in between Team 1 and locking themselves in for tomorrow. Valkyrie camera just gets spotted out there on the drone, pinged with the Z-ping system. Should be dealt with relatively easily. Shows an intent. And even then, you can't guarantee that you're going to be able to get up onto the rappel safely. There could be somebody looking to try and take advantage of that, and Pino knows this. He's going to open up the hatch into kitchen, do a little bit of drone work, make sure that his teammates can get themselves up onto that rappel safely.
Thought process for Team 1. Going into this defense. Seems to be, again, fairly expected of what we've kind of seen the meta shift to. Of course, opening up a lot of that kitchen wall, and obviously the pantry also. Heavy in towards the top floor. An area that Team 1 had no interest in attacking, actually, all it wasn't. They were more direct, very minimalistic in terms of what they were going for. NIP completely the opposite. They're not afraid to challenge these Team 1 players. They've opened up in towards VIP. Nobody's in there, though, from Team 1. Most of them have scattered towards the corridors and have actually scattered downstairs. So, Team 1, very similar to what we've seen from Villa. The same mentality was, okay, let's set up a lot of utility, but don't give the kills away to NIP. Let's just burn up the utility. And they've done that. You know, they've burned up Habana pellets, a couple of flashes in there also. But NIP still have plenty of utility. They haven't used nades. They can get their sledge in. Sledge is alive. Can start redecorating the top floor, of course. Use those vertical angles. Still half the round to go. More than enough time. And I'm seeing no C4s from Team 1. I wonder if those are pre-placed, because I don't think they were ever used. Have to be pre-placed. Surely they have to be pre-placed.
And sorry, Team 1 do like a good pre-place. Possible that that's what they're trying to work with, especially in conjunction with the cameras. KDS is on a lot of the defaults and flicking through some of the cameras, so he could be looking to try and call out here. What a shot from Alamau. I want to see that from the other side. How has he been able to take out Julio there?
That was a great rotation. A little bait from Levin, and Alamau gets just an easy tap. Sees the guy upside down on the rappel. Psycho also falls. Alamau is starting to ramp things up in round number 8. Looking to push his team into match point. Pino, and that jiggle peek from Levy doing wonders for him. Finds out some information, doesn't give himself away. You can see Team 1, the pushes that they're going for, it's well-timed. Alamau maybe trying to top what the Gonuses did. He got his third, but maybe that was a little bit too much. Pino will successfully kill him, but I mean, Ollie, look at the time. Look where Diffuser is. He's done so much, Alamau. He single-handedly killed off this round for NIP. Muzi can try his best. 5 seconds to go. No, there's still one more player that has to go, but he runs out of ammo with the Finca. Lagones finds Pino, and Team 1, match point, series point. What a performance from Alamau. My, oh my.
Impressive couple of kills there. I think if he'd have got that kill onto Pino through the hatch, I probably would have lost my mind. It would have been the best kill that we have ever seen. But it wasn't meant to be. You'll just have to settle for 3, which is still very impressive indeed. Match series point, as you say, Demo, for Team 1 here. 6 rounds to 2 against NIP on Coastline, and it's looking like we may not get that third mapper after all. A lot for NIP to do here. A lot to show us that they haven't shown us already. Not a lot of indication that they've got it in the tank to win this one. Maybe, just maybe, that major qualification was enough for them this weekend. That was their main focus. And they're happy to bow out here and let Team 1 battle with FaZe tomorrow in our grand finals.
(6-2). 6-2. I mean, Ollie, you mentioned that it was a bit of a mountain for NIP that they had to climb. I mean, this is Everest. Is it not?
Maybe not Everest. Maybe like a little K2 or something like that. Yeah.
Kilimanjaro, maybe. This is difficult. Really difficult for NIP, and you know, NIP showed great promise in Villa. Even though they lost Villa, I thought they played some great Siege, and coming on the Coastline, this was their map pick, Ollie. It was their map pick, and they just haven't shown up. Haven't really had a standout. I mean, 4 of them are only in 4 kills. We've highlighted Lagonis, we've highlighted Alamau for Team 1. Neskin has been hitting some great shots. Levy in his rotation has been phenomenal. All of Team 1 have just stepped up over NIP in this game.
And that's the difference, isn't it? It's the team contribution from Team 1 versus the sort of individual contribution from NIP. Everyone performing fairly equally on both sides, all things considered. But there's just that edge at the minute for Team 1, and it's an edge that they're not looking to give up anytime soon. Bit of info being gathered there from Pino. He knows roughly where Levy's going to be for the next few seconds. Attacking into double bar. NIP going to go for this top floor take. It looks to be moving quite quickly here, Demo, especially given the context of how slowly some of these rounds have taken to mature through the course of this game. But everyone really honing their attentions in onto the top of White Stairs.
That whole link replace, he said they're a fan of them, and once again, NIP gonna have to worry about those pre-plays. Obviously, the Valkyrie camera is coming in big, Ollie. You have to always consider whenever Valkyrie's up that you could get exploded from below. Good jam replacement, just delays the Hibana, but moves a nice swing, eliminates Neskin. Pino finds Levy. There's the pre-play C4. Alamau finds Psycho, but still trades go in favor of NIP. Down goes Alamau. Looks as if NIP might actually take their first attack round in this series. Or not in this series, in this map. Almost gets shot from below. KDS and Lagonis. And they clutched up the double SES operators. Kamikaze, is he aware of the offsite position that Lagonis is in? Swings on the Sonador and will find Kamikaze. Ollie, is this all of a sudden clutchable now from Team 1?
Certainly is. All they need is a player and a chance, and they've got two. Finkerstim is just going to give Muzi and Julio a little bit of a boost there. Pino looking to move on in as well. Team 1, not in a terrible position at the moment. The diffuser's going to be in the hands of Pino. Toxic Babe canister flies on out. It's going to buy Lagonis a bit of time, but that is really all it is going to buy. He's got a player pushing him in through Kitchen, who he is entirely unaware of. Muzi there, ready to shut him down. KDS gets caught looking up at the stars. NIP, they finally drag one back here. It's when they needed to the most. They had no more options for letting rounds slip. Can they do it again and again and again?
Well, NIP now make it a little bit more interesting, and this is the same deficit they were on, of course, before Ollie and Villa, whenever we see NIP start to rally, and I wonder if they can do it again. We'll be upstairs, that top floor. This was the Lagonis round. This is where it would start off really well for NIP. And, I mean, I think if you look at how really Team 1 responded, it was just sheer individual brilliance, which isn't necessarily something that you can really counter for, but it's not necessarily something that Team 1 can rely on. Is that happening every round? You know, we talk about consistency. It's very difficult to be consistent in this game, as we know, Ollie. Every player has had their fair share of amazing games where we think, oh my word, look at them, you know, they're the Pele of Siege. And then we look at them and all of a sudden they're nobodies. They're ghosts.
I'm disappointed that you didn't give me an alternate than like nobody or
Phil
ghost.
Jones.
Phil Jones. I knew it was going to
be.
be.
There you go. I don't know if that was, you know, it's going to scare you off, and but
I went to
there you
school
go,
with
Phil
him.
Jones.
He was in the year above me at my school.
Surely not.
Fun fact, yeah, absolutely.
Seriously?
Yeah, on God.
Wow. My oh my. That's crazy. I didn't know that. That's cool.
See, a little United thanking out you there once again. I agree. I think it's one of those circumstances where you've got to ask the question, can an IP do this again? And of course they can. They're very capable. Is it likely? I'm not too sure at this point. Psycho certainly getting a lot of value out of his shock drone. The ability to jump those drones has just been massive. Look what he's able to achieve here. 3 mute jammers, an ADS. Damage has been done there, and it's actually already allowing the wall to be open, which is going to put further pressure on Vase. But I think Lagonis is sat inside of Billiards, actually shooting them off.
As if they've got that covered. I don't know if that was Billiards or maybe it was Levy playing actually maybe below Ollie. So I know that they have some vertical angles being opened up that Levy can try and hold down perhaps. So not entirely sure where they came from, but I'm going to try again with the Havana pelts. See someone's going to go to try and get rid of them. As if they're in position, and there we go. Lagonis will quickly and swiftly move in, and will destroy them once again. So minute 30, no kills on the board for either side, which is probably better, you would say, for Team 1. Never mind, Caster's Curses. Muzi will open things up. Levy off the board. Bit of a quiet game, Ollie, since we kind of hyped them up in the attacking rounds. I don't know if he's got a kill on the defense. It has been quite a while since I've seen his name actually flash up on the scoreboard. Alamau, a sliver of HP, also has to be careful. Even a shrapnel damage from a grenade is enough to finish him off. This is not a good position, and there goes Kamikaze. He has shown no fear at all during this week, and he's right on the money with that swing. Psycho will eliminate Neskin now. 2 versus 4. Lagonis on the window. If he can eliminate the man on the rappel. Psycho moves in. Uses that drone, but has not spotted out. Never mind, has spotted out Lagonis, and he is in quite the predicament. Will get spotted out, and this should be an easy pickup. Yes, it will be for Psycho. NIP look as if they're ready to make this match bit of a longer one. KDS eliminates Julio. 30 seconds. Diffuser still not picked up, though, from NIP. A C4 will be prepped, but very wisely if NIP move into the other bomb site, a position that KDS cannot get to. A C4 toss, but not even close to getting a kill on this crossfire. In hell. Nice kill, though. And oh my word, another one comes out of nowhere. KDS has picked up 2 massive kills. He sees the sledge wounded, and he finds it! Oh my word! The impossible clutch for KDS! He has to find a diffuser, but I'm sure he will find it in due course. What do you say about that?
I mean, I'm not sure quite how he's done it. I'm just glad that we got to see it from KDS's point of view, because we can go through. We will have the replays on that. KDS, 4 kills on the round. The unwinnable clutch, and he's been able to pull it off. Sloppy stuff from NIP. 1 round was all it would take there. Team 1 had a cracking first half here on Coastline. They put themselves in a really good position. NIP, they started to fire up. They started to get their act together, but it just wasn't enough. KDS has just clutched up there in a monumental way. The second time we've seen a really big contribution there from one of the Team 1 players. We can see they are all cool as a cucumber about it. Happy to get the win. Happy to know that they're going to be facing off against FaZe tomorrow inside of our grand finals. A win there for Team 1. They were able to take map number 1 of Villa. They backed it up with a win on Coastline as well. Interestingly, the only 2 maps that we've seen played today, Villa and Coastline. That really has been the order of things. But what a great round there from KDS. A good performance overall from Team 1, one that they thoroughly deserved. It was almost inevitable that they were going to get there at some point. All they needed was 1 round, but I don't think anyone was expecting it to be a clutch like that from KDS.
It should have been that round. I know we can praise KDS in terms of what he's just done, but there's no escaping the fact that that was a massive choke from NIP, a massive thrown round. We have seen those rounds play out where you get the diffuser and you're planting in the other bomb site and there's 1 guy left. You know he can only come up cool vibes. And the cool vibe guy, you know, that's why maybe I wasn't expecting that to be a clutch. Who would have expected that? You know, you just, okay, it's only a matter of time before he gets taken out. But he just quick peeks with the MPX and just 1 headshot, 2 headshots, just after another. I have no words for what we've just witnessed. No words.
Welcome to Brazil. Riley, get yourself back in here. Let's unpack that game, set some expectations for tomorrow, maybe get ourselves an interview with Team 1.
What a dramatic conclusion there. And look, you know, NIP, we didn't know what to expect when we came into this this series against Team 1. We saw them on fire yesterday against Liquid. But today, I don't know. Ollie, how are we characterizing the performance from NIP? They took their foot off the accelerator, clearly, but why? Not as much at stake today. They didn't have the qualification for Sweden on the line. A very different team to what we saw yesterday, I think.
I think a different team. I think they've come up against a good Team 1. A Team 1 that's hungry to prove themselves at every level at this point. Don't forget, NIP being SI winners, they've got maybe a bit less to prove everywhere. Still, Team 1, a very young side, a hungry side that want to be known as winners, and it's almost a bit of a sort of legacy thing that you want to be known as, you win everything, whereas NIP maybe just a little bit more focused on the big ticket items like the major. They've already won a Copa Elite 6, they won last stage, so they're not going to be too concerned necessarily about winning another and giving everything away, especially with what's to come. But see, you can't take it away from Team One. We saw NIP trying today. We saw them putting together some fairly good strategies, and we saw a lot of mistakes made from both sides. Team One, an opportunistic team, a team that are very capable of capitalizing on small mistakes, and that's exactly what we saw in that last round. It was a lot of small mistakes all stacking up there to culminate in a Team One win.
Well, Team One did very well. I think Lagona's standing by now from Team One for us to have a chat with and perhaps get some perspective on what happened there with NIP. Lagonas, thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations on the win. A big win puts you into the final of the Copa Elite 6. How are you feeling about the upcoming match against FaZe Clan here?
Yeah, I'm feeling great for today's match, and for tomorrow it's gonna be tough. FaZe really a rival for us. Like every time that we play against them, it's a good match. So tomorrow it's gonna be fun.
I think we were expecting this game to maybe go all 3 maps, Lagonis. We were quite surprised to see Villa and Coastline, the maps that were chosen. You guys have had some incredible clutches today. You got 4 kills inside of 1 round and went for the ace. KDS finishing that last round as well. What's sort of going through your guys' mind ahead of tomorrow? Like, are you looking to really sort of stamp down your authority and take the Copa Elite 6 and prove yourself as major winners, Copa Elite 6 winners, and then go to Sweden and get the win as well?
Yeah, so our main goal was to qualify for Sweden, for the majors in Sweden. But like today, I think these clutches and everyone like play with not pressure, no, because our main goal was qualifying for Sweden. So we did that, and for tomorrow, everyone, like after winning this semifinal as the way it was, I think everyone really win the Copa Elite 6. That is a tournament that we have never won, and it's kind of national tournament. We only won the major, so it's gonna be a good trophy for us, Hello.
Well, Lagonas, thank you very much for joining us, mate. Congratulations once again on the win, and looking forward to you and the boys putting on a performance tomorrow.
Thanks. See you guys. Have a nice day.